Matt, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, I'm refreshing 20th Century Fox's website. I want to be the first in line when they announce the new Baby's Day Out 30th anniversary 4K disc release. Can't wait. Any minute now.
Matt, it's 2025. For God's sakes. You've missed the fucking anniversary probably by like 5 years. You're gonna have to go around, probably to the 10th, if anything. I gotta tell you this right now too. This is fucking pathetic. I mean, you gotta look at things realistically here. Physical media is on its way out as well, so I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. I mean, baby bink, baby stink. That's all I have to say about that. It's fucking over, man. Give it the fuck up.
How could you say that? Ah!
Yeah, it's happening again.
We're being raptured!
I'm like, life is a mystery.
You're like, with arms wide open. It's Mulder week.
Yes.
We finally did it.
It's all been, I would say it's all been leading to this, but we have one more episode to go. Yeah, episode 199. We have one more episode after this to hit the illustrious 200.
Whoa.
200.
It's just 200.
It's just too sweet. So, yeah, as you said, Mulder week, which implies Fox Mulder, David Duchovny, with one film and one TV show, Out of This World and The Rapture.
Pretty weak pairing.
I'm trying to think if there's been like a more
bullshit excuse for tying two things together.
Yeah, I'm trying to think on the podcast if there's ever been one that like I was like, you know what I mean? Like when I was like I accepted it, and then when once I had got through everything, I was like,
this was dumb.
So, I mean, we kind of like paired it like how we said last week, but we'll get into it.
The point is, it doesn't really matter because it's just two things I wanted to watch.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. This week doesn't matter. It doesn't. Matt doesn't give a fuck. He gave up about 199 episodes ago. No, well, I thought the funniest thing was about the whole thing was like, it's not David Duchovny week, it's Fox Mulder, the character.
The fictional character that has
like,
nothing to do with either of this.
In the fucking movie. It's like, he's like, I'm in the movie! So, the poll this week, Out of This World, no on YouTube, but we actually had people, everybody said that, I think it was just one person, had watched it.
One
back
liar?
in the day.
Nice.
I mean, this ran for 4 seasons. There's probably more people that have seen this than they had Rapture.
96 episodes.
Yeah. And then the Rapture was no on YouTube, and then 50-50 on Instagram.
Whoa.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, okay, that was a note for something else. I had like a note that said 2, 7, 10. I was like, what? 2710. So,
Look at it, me.
yeah, I guess, did you want to go... well, I guess you kind of already said that there wasn't really any... You just kind of wanted to watch these two and just decided to call it Mulder.
So I had a list of movies that I wanted to pick
Yeah.
and a list of shows that I wanted to pick, and Rapture's time was due. And I was like, what would go with this? And this is the best bullshit I could come up with. It's literally all the method to the
Rapture's time was due. That's what it should be on the... That's what the shit should have been on the poster.
Yeah.
Rapture's time is due. It kind of sounds like an action film, though, so people might have been a little disappointed.
So yeah, that's all there is to it.
Cool.
And I'd never seen The Rapture before.
Well, you're going to tonight. It's like, I guess that's not the Rapture. That's just a murder. You being killed. The Rapture is like... Well, dude, the fucking definitions that they put on for the tagline, I was cracking up, because it's like, what the fuck is with the why is the tagline the definition, like all three definitions of rapture? It's like
To draw you in.
pure sexual. Yeah, that really drew
Entice
me
you.
in. I was like, whoa, a definition. But I guess we'll talk about your TV show pick.
Out of This World.
Yeah. Starring Maureen Flanagan as Evie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you, I soured on the show because the ending sucked so much. It kind of ruined me for the whole... Because that first episode was fine. It was a fine setup. But the second... when we watched the last episode, it was so annoying.
Yeah, we
to
did
me.
like a new thing this week for people that didn't watch the last episode. We did a thing where we watched... Because usually with Weird Watches, we'll just watch the first episode. But we'll do the first episode of a show, and we'll do the very last episode. Like the series finale.
Yeah, and that was so annoying and unsatisfying to me. I was like, this show sucks. So I'd really soured on it by the time you texted me.
Well, you asked me if I'd watched
Yeah.
it, and I was like, yeah, I actually watched it. Like, we probably watched it around the same time, honestly. But
What'd you think?
I got the feeling that, like, since this show got 4 seasons, they thought they were going to get a 5th season, so they didn't shoot this like this was the series finale at all. They shot it was like a cliffhanger for the next season, and then another season never got made, and I'm assuming that's what happened. So
Yeah. But they just paraded in, like, I guess,
100
recurring
fucking
characters.
recurring
like,
characters.
Annoy me, basically.
To, like, stop the...
story.
Because, like,
from
the whole
happening.
thing about, like, this show is that, like, on her, 14th birthday or something like that?
Yeah,
or whatever
13th,
it is.
14th.
The main character finds out she's, like, half human, half alien, and she has powers because of it, but you're never able to see, like, the dad throughout the show, and he shows up on the very last episode, but even then you don't see what he looks like. He comes in as, like, a shadow person, which, like, that effect must have been a pain in the ass to fucking do.
Back in the analog days.
Yeah, and, but he's, like, voiced by, like, fucking,
The legend, Burt Reynolds.
the legend. Which I was like, the amount of money they spent probably to get him to do... Well, I don't know. What do you think? Like,
At that point in his career, maybe not. I'm not sure.
I mean, he also did, like, All Dogs Go to Heaven and stuff. Like, he was
had
doing
that
a lot
show,
of voice work.
What was that
stuff,
show that he
so-
was in? Not Northern Exposure.
Yeah, I guess you're right. There were points in his
Evening
career.
Shade.
Yeah.
That was kind of
where
a
he
big
was
show.
kind of doing TV.
Yeah,
and
for old
stuff.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it wasn't. But it's kind of like they were jerking the curtain for 4 seasons, not showing what the dad looked like.
Yeah.
Like, even in the intro, where they show, like... Which I didn't even know what the fuck that was until I had to look it up, that was, like, how the mom and dad, like, got together. But it's like a fucking, like... They meet, and then they get married, and they have a kid, and then he, like... He goes back to his planet, but, like, there's a part where it's, like, an astronaut's helmet that has, like, a lipstick mark on it from her. But, like, I was like... It's like a fucking I Dream of Jeannie situation where an astronaut comes down and fucking finds a fucking bottle, and I was like, what is this? Like, who's the alien here? Like, because it's like they look just like humans, and fucking he's wearing like a regular astronaut's uniform. So I was like, but I'd like to go over the lyrics here.
To the greatest intro
I know,
of any
right?
TV show.
It's better than a lot of shit we fucking watched on this show. Not a lot, some. Well, maybe not. Would you like to swing on a star? carry moonbeams home in a jar and be better off than you are? Or would you rather go to Earth? An Earthling's a creature who is plain as can be. He's not as unique as you or me. His body comes in lots of different shapes. I'm like, okay, so that last line was bullshit then, because if a human's body comes in a bunch of different shapes, it's already like more unique. They say his relatives were chimps and apes. I'm like, not chimps and apes. It's like
chimps and apes.
Yeah, it's like
Whoa.
Apes are chimps, right? So that'd be like humans and fucking Homo erectus or something. It's like same thing, idiot. Or is it? But if you take my advice for what it's worth, you could be happy there on Earth. So,
utter nonsense.
Yeah. But here's the website. Let me see if I can fucking find this or open this.
Dude.
It's like,
nice.
Fuck you. Oh shit, what's this back to Out of This World? Out of This World is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. It ran from 87 to 91 as a syndicated show playing on many Fox stations. That's literally the only thing on here.
Oh, great tribute.
Viewcast, information, pictures, and sounds. Episode guide. Guest book where you could, like, go to a page and sign it or whatever back in the day. Dude, that's a blast from the past. Holy
nice.
Shit.
I bet it probably got pretty good over the course of the series.
Yeah, I mean,
last that
it's
long.
one of those things where, like, it kind of reminded me of, like, Sabrina the Teenage Witch or whatever. We used to kind of watch that show every once in a while.
Yeah, I like the main two actresses. They seemed likable.
I like the uncle.
Yeah, he was funny.
I like that he was, like, actually in on it. And he knew,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's, like, his sister or whatever got married to an alien. But, like, I thought it was... I could have done without the mayor character was fucking dumb as shit and annoying.
Yeah.
I put some weird mayor shows up. Who cares? He brought like out a fucking Sherwood Forest fucking Sheriff of Nottingham scroll, and I was like, what? There was some line on here that was kind of like, essentially they were like, does grandma know that, like, you know, dad is an alien? And, like, the fucking brother was like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that, like, we could tell her. She, like, would freak out if fucking, like, you know, she talks to, like, a Mexican? And I was like, okay, so the grandma was, like, racist confirmed. I was like, Jesus.
That was a pretty rough line.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man. Fucking throwing her under the bus fucking 5 seconds into the fucking show. 4 tickets to Phil Collins concert. I was like, holy shit, this mayor character is fucking hooking her up.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if it's worth putting up with his dumb ass for fucking 4 seasons.
Phil Collins as he was entering his adult contemporary phase.
Right. It's like... I did think it was
Every
kinda...
16-year-old girl loves that.
Right! I thought it was kind of weird how, like, she's like... You know, I haven't seen my dad in, like, you know, all these years, and then when she, like, finds out that he's an alien, like, she's like, fuck it, like, he's gross, and I'm like, what? Like, what? Huh? But she's half Antarian. My biggest problem is, like, you really don't find out much other than she has powers in this first episode, and she can kind of, and she talks to her dad, like, in a cube, but, like, they don't really show you anything, like, cool. It's like, there's no, like, you know, it's not like Clark Kent, he goes to fucking, you know, creates the Fortress of Solitude, and his dad's like, I am the wealth of knowledge, and I'm going to tell you about, like, our species, and you get, like, an info dump, and you're like, holy shit, like, this guy's a badass. This is just, like, you have powers, and, you know.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And then the
I'm
last...
sure she accumulates more over time and probably becomes
because, like, in the 18th episode, which is... Or, the 18th episode. Her 18th birthday, which it was funny going from, like, that first episode to the last episode, because it's, like, major growth spurt.
Yeah.
And, which is kind of cool to see someone, like, you know...
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's all part of my plan.
Yeah. Well, I was like... I thought you meant, like, the actress was like...
I made this happen.
Shit. And I was like... Like, the actress was shit when she was little. I'm like, what? She's like, I know what I'm doing. But, like, on that 18th birthday, Burt Reynolds is like, don't you want your newest power? So I guess he, like, bestows her powers each birthday or something. So maybe that was, like, what was keeping people coming back. I don't know.
Becomes a Metroidvania show.
Well, it's kind of weird that, like, this ran for 4 seasons, so it had to have had something behind it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I do see there were a few decent guest stars over the years.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Richard Mole, Tom Bosley, Richard Keel, Charles Nelson Riley. Nice.
Dude. He probably was like an alien.
Oh, it was as himself.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
Basically,
AKA, he's an alien. Did you see that, like, in the last episode, her, like, I guess it's her best friend, I would assume, she shows up with, like, an invention, and it's just mousetrap.
Yeah.
It's like, to not have to get a
Rube
Kleenex,
Goldberg
and I was
device.
like, those kinds of things, I was like, these are, like, cool as a kid, but, like, as soon as you, like, hit old enough to use your brain, you're like, this is a waste of fucking time. Like the Pee-wee's fucking Big Adventure movie, I love that. But like the whole thing making the food and then he only eats like one bite, I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, kill me! As a kid, I was like, yee! Also, yeah, okay, so this is the start of like the bullshit in this episode. Because I just kind of want to go through some of the shit that was pissing me off here. But like, they're like, it's not the Pope, and then like this guy shows up dressed as the Pope. But it's a random, like, delivery guy advertising for, like, a Pope pizza. And I was like, this is so fucking dumb. Like, and it was just the beginning because it was like the mayor shows up, then, like, I guess the mom is, like, hanging out with, like, firemen and, like, all this other bullshit happens. And, like, there's a fucking help I've fallen I can't get up joke. And I was like, dude, holy shit. If this show wasn't already dated, this is like Burt Reynolds is like, I've fallen, I can't get up, but then he like gets up anyway, and I was just like,
the height of comedy in the 90s.
like, divorce this motherfucker. Also, like, it didn't help that like watching the first episode and then watching the last episode, it's never explained why he just can't come back to fucking Earth whenever he wants. Like, it was like, the whole thing is like, he left and then he hasn't been seen. It's not like he's dead. Like, if he was dead, it would be way better because fucking, it would be like, maybe it was like, you know, like the Fortress of Solitude thing where he like stored his memories in a fucking thing and she gets to talk to him. But like, this is like, he's just a deadbeat bastard. You know what I mean? It like kind of comes off like,
well, that makes me think
without an explanation.
Yeah. For Weird Watches, we're just going to have to run the whole series from here on out. 96 episodes, binge them.
Yeah. But then the last episode, the mom goes to, like, Antaria, and she gets fucking sent there, and the dad's like, shit! And that's, like, well, he doesn't say shit, but that's, like, the cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. He's stuck there. And I was like, should have been, like, the second season cliffhanger. Yeah. That was kind of like, holy shit, something happened.
Right.
Last episode, I don't think I've ever seen a show that had more fucking filler in an episode. Like,
yeah, that's all it was.
I was
that's
like,
why
holy
I was so
shit,
yeah.
like...
The main character is barely even in it. The girl.
Yeah.
Which, she's, you know, the one interesting person.
She was on a star... Whoa. Moonbeams.
So yeah, I would feel overly bad about the show, but, you know, I'm sure it was good.
Overly bad? I feel overly bad, help me!
Well, I mean, I have a negative feeling towards it.
Oh,
it's
I see
just
what you're
mainly
saying.
because
I thought you meant like you felt bad for picking it. I was like, no, it's fine. You shouldn't feel bad about that. It's fine. I think that like we just got screwed because like the first episode was actually somewhat interesting, and then like the last episode was like an episode you would put in like maybe the first season or something as like a fuck around episode, especially not as any season's last episode.
Right. It's
like,
sweeps week.
It's a
what were they thinking?
It's like, what is this shit? So, fuck you to the people that made this show.
Jesus.
Like, pretty much, fuck them, dude. Hopefully they're burning in hell. And speaking of hell, it's time to talk about The Rapture.
Whoa!
Written and directed by Michael feckin' Tolkien. He's like, So.
From the year of our Lord, 1981.
So, yeah. Starring
Mimi Rogers
Yeah.
and David Duchovny.
the man for which this week is named after, Mulder himself, before his X-Files.
Yeah, pre-X-Files by a year or two.
He's like, oh. So, yeah.
Were you enraptured by the Rapture?
To a degree. I don't know if I was enraptured. I was like, oh. It definitely made me think, for sure.
Yeah. It was quite a movie, I thought.
Yeah.
It was quite something.
Yeah, that's a word for it, for sure. And I'm not saying that like I'm like, fuck this is shit or anything, but it was definitely something where I was like, it made me think, like, mainly towards like the end of the film.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. I wasn't like, oh. But, yeah, there's some stuff. We'll talk about the film, and then, like, I don't want to, like, kind of, I guess, get into too much, you know, of what I thought about it until we get towards the end and stuff. Yeah. But
to me, we watched so many movies. It was refreshing to see one where, like, I had no idea what was going to happen at any point, and I've kind of never really seen anything like this. It was pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely made me think, for sure.
Yeah. Like, I told you the next day after we watched it, I was like, whoa. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I ended up watching, like, half of it again just because I couldn't get it out of my mind. It disturbed me.
Hopefully it was the last half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess... I guess we'll go ahead and talk about...
Spoilers are going to happen.
Yeah, starting now.
But I would recommend anyone see The Rapture. I thought it was pretty darn good. But it will be spoiled in this episode, so turn this off, delete it, and watch The Rapture.
Just watch our
then
episode.
Then re-download it again.
Watch our episode. Don't watch The Rapture. Unless you're watching the first 1 second. This kind of... I was a little scared at the beginning of this because this kind of started off like Bruiser, and I was like, oh no. Because this was like fucking... indie fucking black and white credits with fucking noises behind it. I was like, kill me. But we start off the movie with like finding out that like Mimi Rogers in this is like
a total skank.
Yeah, well, she works. Not her character. She's a fucking slut. Mimi Rogers, if you're watching this, we know you're a slag. But like, she works...
You, not your character, Sharon.
Yeah, you've been fucking hiding the sausage. She works at a call center, and then, like, she hangs out with this guy named Vic, and they go around and, like, do, like, sex swapping and stuff like that.
Swinging, baby, yeah!
So...
She lives a life of sin.
Yeah.
An empty existence.
And let's begin talking about how I was like, at first I was watching this, it was like Vic, and I was like, damn it, why is it not Vic Fontaine? He's like,
dude, can you imagine?
That would be horrifying. Well, not horrifying. I'm like, I'm weeping for days. What'd you think about when David Duchovny first shows up and he's got the fucking mullet on?
Dude, that was ridiculous.
I was like...
Like, I was alive in the 90s, and even then, that mullet would be ridiculous.
I don't remember seeing anyone wearing a fucking mullet in the 90s. Maybe going in, like, if we ever went anywhere into the South, maybe, but yeah.
It was pretty silly looking.
Yeah. David Duchovny, he swaps for a second, and they go back, and the one lady gets topless that he's with. I said, why can't Mulder give us that same luxury? It's okay, you get to see his ass in this, which I took screenshots of. Vic likes to watch...
for your secret files.
My X-Files. My XXX files. Vic likes to watch, and Mulder says, watch this! Then they cut the fucking...
Goes to Pound Town.
The werewolf Vic leg. I was like, dude, Jesus Christ. After saying he likes to watch, Vic lies and has sex anyway.
He did it anyway.
Yeah. He's like, I like to watch, and then he's just like... He's like, if you want to come and take a ride with me. Hey, must be the sex.
I did like that they used a furniture store for their sex orgy.
Yeah.
It made me think I'm never going to buy anything from a furniture.
You don't want to go have
again.
Sex at Furniture Fair. Furniture Fair.
You're going to like it the way you screw. It's like, that's not even a furniture
warehouse.
store. It's a clothes store.
You're going to like the way you have sex in a coat. I guarantee it. I'm like, is that D as in dick? Mulder says he's done things for money, things he wishes he didn't do. He killed a man for $1,000 because it stayed with... He wishes he wouldn't have done it because it stayed with him and he took that man's life. He wonders if they weren't taught killing was wrong, would he feel the same way? That's the first line in the movie where I was like, okay, this is like, there's something to this film.
There's some meat on these bones.
Yeah, and it came from Mulder.
But I did like how they made the characters, like the main characters, kind of sleazy. Not to judge anyone who.
Well, it's kind of weird that, like, yeah, it's definitely in juxtaposition because later in the movie it kind of goes completely different. You're like, wait, what? You're like, wait, what? So, yeah, she's leading this life of sin, and then door-to-door religious people talking about being saved by Jesus, and she like randomly just lets them in. I think at this point she's kind of like, sex isn't really, like, she's trying to do anything
not
she
satisfying
can.
at all.
Yeah, so she like lets them in because she also, at the call center, she'll overhear her coworkers talking about, like, you know, how they're all happy and stuff for being in, you know, loving God and stuff like that. But she lets them in and she asks about, like, you know, she heard people talking about the boy. And
didn't she start having the dreams of, like, the pearl or whatever?
I think she, like, lied that she and then she, like,
then she starts having them.
But she said, like, some people say that he's the prophet in the old tradition. Some people say there are others like him all around the country. And then the other guy says, as Sugar Ray said, all around the world!
Dude, nice.
She says, what do you say? And they say, trust in God. And I was like, whoa. And then in the next swinging session, she's kind of starting to, like, pull back from, you know, that kind of thing, and she starts asking
what's
like,
going on.
She's like, you know, she sees, like, the lady's back tattoo, and she's like, that's my obsession. And she wants to know, like, because the lady said, like, it was done in one night, and she was like, how the fuck is that possible? Yeah. So she's kind of calling her out, but it never really, like, I guess, like, answered.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking why this movie's so
the biggest question in this whole movie.
Right. But yeah, that's one thing that keeps popping up is people are having these dreams about a pearl, and she's trying to, like, fake it. Being like, she's religious, like, she's trying to force it and stuff like that. And she hasn't been able to take the plunge because she wants the gratification that comes from that, but, like, everything else in her life, she's trying to take the easy way. And then we've got the Mulder forced out of bed due to immoral acts and changing of sheets week. Yeah, she's like,
when she truly turns.
3 a.m. She's like, get out of the fucking bed. We gotta change these sheets. Get out.
This bed is unclean.
Yeah.
We should say this movie is basically the Mimi Rogers show. Like,
yeah,
she's the whole movie, and it's basically a bunch of close-ups of her, like, looking bewildered for the whole movie.
She's a whole.
But I thought she was phenomenal in this. I loved her. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty much the only thing in this film.
Yeah, she's the show.
Yeah.
And I think it could have gone totally off the rails with, like, a weaker actor.
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know, like, yeah, the subject matter is interesting. It's like,
oh yeah. But I liked her from Austin Powers, but I've only seen her in, like, real small roles, like when she popped up on X-Files and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is, like, the best thing I've ever seen her do by far.
It's like the only thing I've seen her do besides fucking X-Files and Austin Powers. Like you said, usually she's not really in stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I mean that just kind of happens, I guess, to people sometimes. Makes me wonder, like, what happened. You know what I mean?
I have some theories, but we can discuss that offline.
Oh, okay. You're like IRL. She's a slag. She slept her way to the bottom.
No, it has nothing to do with her.
Oh. It has to do with Mr. Kensington. So yeah, she's insta rushing into religion and tries to get the easy way into heaven on her high horse. And she's like essentially like chastising fucking David Duchovny. And he's like, Sharon, don't you understand what's going on? The world's a disaster. We have no power to make it better. You hate your job, you hate your life, but you want to feel special. Instead of letting me do that, you're rushing off to something that's not even there. And she's like, there has to be something more. And he's like, why? She said, I'm tired of all the pain in my life. I'm tired of feeling empty all the time. And he, like, doesn't believe in, like, you know, God and stuff like that. And he wants to, like, pretty much be like, we could be happy together as, like, a couple. Like, a, you know, essentially being like, I love you. Because they were just, like, a one-off thing, but then they started seeing each other. Yeah.
What do you think all the other religions in the world thought about the rapture when it happened in this movie?
I'm sure they were all watching it with bated breath.
So that's kind of the thing of this movie is basically...
Oh, you're talking about, like, when it happens in the film?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant, like, if I was a Buddhist and I went and saw this movie. What do you think they were thinking?
Basically, this invalidates all other
religions. They were
religions.
thinking, I guess we fucked up, but, I mean, it's one of those things where who the fuck would know? I mean...
I think that's what makes this special is, like, it goes there, as the poster says, to, like, basically
it fucking goes there!
The Jesus religion is actually true, and then the rapture actually happens.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool
Yeah.
in the movie that they actually did something like that, where they actually...
And it turns out it's a fucking nightmare.
Well, for people that...
For some people.
Are dumbasses. Are you a dumbass? He's like, I'm real dumbass material. So then we've got the most annoying character in the fucking film being picked up, the hitchhiker, Tommy. It was like, at first I thought this guy was a stand-up comedian, and I was like, is this like a Dennis Leary thing where it was, once again, I'm shitting on Dennis Leary. But like, I felt it was like some dude just doing his stand-up or something, because it was like he was just talking, and I was like, what is happening right now?
James LaGrosse.
Yeah. And it's
he's
like, no,
just James Gross.
No, I guess, like, slam on him, but, like, what the fuck was going on there? Like, why was this, like, when she robs him, he's like, oh! I was like, it's the only good part of that entire situation. But it's all just so she can get a gun, and it's like, dude, they could have done that, like, in a different way. She puts a gun to her chin, but she doesn't pull the trigger. She opens the Bible at the motel, and that's where she, like, that's when she has, like, her essential, like, awakening to God. But I was like,
baby Jesus,
fucking putting a fucking gun to your chin for the 100th time on buddyshotz. Yeah, she tries to tell, like, Vic that she's found God, and he's just like, whatever, you'll fucking get over this shit. Yeah, it was kind of interesting because she's at work and she's like fucking preaching to people on the fucking phone,
trying to convert people.
Yeah, and it was like she goes to do that, and it's like her boss is like, we need to have a talk. He's like, you know, you're essentially spending like 200 years on the phone with one customer, and it's supposed to just be like, you know, they're trying to find whatever they need and connect them with the information. And it's like every other thing, I'm like, oh, she's fucked, she's gonna get fired. But he's like, essentially like, you found God or whatever. Like, they essentially, you know, he's like, yeah, I know God as well or whatever. And
join the club.
Yeah. So this was kind of weird because there was like a kid that was like fucking their personal like liaison, and it's like, It was just kind of like he was there. So it was like
the connection to God.
Right, yeah. It was kind of like interesting. And it's like essentially they're
it
like
was true.
Right, I mean it was just weird that it was like, you know, this was like actually real. This was like there was no, you know, this might have happened. They were maybe thinking they, you know, they didn't do the bullshit where it was like they were maybe seeing it in a dream or something. It actually happened. And
oh yeah, a worse version of this movie is it would be like, did the rapture really happen?
It's like,
oh,
she's actually in jail because fucking she did some horrible shit.
She is mentally ill.
Right. That would be like
it's
the
all about
fucking legendary version or something.
Exactly.
But like, he's like, God is coming back, and there are wars coming. They're like, they have to wait 5 to 6 years or whatever for like stuff happening or whatever. And David Duchovny said, instead of heroin, you are doing God. And essentially, this is where they kind of like get together for good because she's like, you know, essentially they're like they love each other, and he's like, you know, I don't. He's essentially at that point like not a believer, like he's an atheist, and he's like, you'd stay with me even if I didn't pray, and then she's pretty much just like doesn't, you know, she's like whatever, yeah. But then like it's like 6 years later, and they have a kid together, and he's essentially like been converted. So
what'd you think when it hard cuts to 6 years later?
That happened, and I was like, we're 50 minutes in, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I was enjoying it, but when that happened, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Something's happening.
What's going to happen 50 minutes in here? Because it changed to like a family setting, and they're like in a pool and stuff, and they got the like David Duchovny fucking at his job like firing this Lewis guy because he's got like a drinking drug problem, and then he fucking does the like 90s fucking like postal worker thing and comes back in with a shotgun and like kills everybody
with one of the most effective jump scares I've ever seen in a movie. Did that get you?
No.
I was like,
no,
holy shit,
not at all,
dude. That made me jump out of my
because
seat.
I was praying it would happen. Mulder is one of 2 dumb characters in this film because he heard fucking gunfire and ran towards it. I was like, what are you doing?
Trying to help other human beings is stupid, in your opinion.
Yeah, help them after they're dead on the ground.
He paid the ultimate price.
Yeah. He'll be burning in hell. Actually, he's probably in heaven. Or is he? I don't know. That was never, like, clear if he, like, truly converted or if he was, like... But sadly, no more David Duchovny. Fuck this. He's not in this as much as I would like. He's only in it, like, a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, it's a one-woman show.
Which is weird because he's pretty much, like... He's on the cover, but he's also, like... I mean, he has, like, the kid with Mimi Rogers or whatever, so, like... So, like, after this, like, she sees, like, these photos, like, printed off, and it's, like... There's, like, her husband's in the desert or whatever after he's killed. And she gets, like, I guess, like, that's her vision to go to the desert. And her, like, essential church is like, well, I mean, no one else got that vision, so I guess you're being called to, like, a higher power to go there, I guess, maybe. You know, like, they don't specifically tell her, but she kind of, like, takes that as, like, her thing. They're kind of just, her and her daughter are just chilling in the desert waiting for fucking the rapture to come.
Yeah, there's some pretty strong lines in this where they're talking about, like, death and the afterlife and all that, and the little kid at one point says that she wants to die, and I'm like, Jesus! Like, this is horrifying.
I was cracking up.
Why?
Because it's fucking ridiculous. I was like, what? Why can't we just
You're
die?
Like, this movie's a laugh a minute.
I was like, okay.
I was like devastated by that. I was like, holy shit, this is strong stuff.
Why can't we just die and go to heaven quickly and be with Daddy again? Come on, Mom, let's die. Let's give God one more chance. I was like, good Lord, dude. I think I was laughing because of the way she fucking said it. I had to rewind it a bunch because it was like, "Come on, Mom, let's die." I was like, "What? Why do you say it like that?" So, I like this deputy character, Will Patton.
Yeah.
He shows up and
tries to treat him with kindness.
Yeah. And he says, she says, "Have you been saved?" And he says, "No." She says, "Do you know what that means?" And he said, "Yeah." "Would you like to be?" And he said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Who wouldn't?" Like, he's kind of, like, blowing it off. And then, she has, like, dreams and nightmares about her past sins. They're doing, like, fucking scavenging through a barrel for food because they were, like, I guess they were expecting to be fucking, like, taken instantly.
Rapture's taking forever.
They decided to not fucking bring any food. And then the deputy comes back, and I was like, hell yeah. This was, like, the true scary moment. Well, not scary moment, but it was like, Jesus! The child wakes up and starts screaming about Gabriel. She's like, I was like, shut up. What'd you think about when they went to the drive-thru and fucking, like, they give her the food before she, like, pays?
Rookie mistake.
I was like, what kind of fucking restaurant is this? This is straight bullshit.
It made me think of that Dana Carvey show sketch that I love so much with Bob Odenkirk, where they're like, we're going to screw this drive-thru, and they give them the money and they drive off taking the food, like, we got him! Woo!
Yeah, I was just like, no restaurant ever has ever, well, not ever.
That guy's fired.
Yeah. Well, it won't matter. Yeah, so they drive off to a fucking scorched area. And this is the...
Looked like the same location where Kirk fought the Gorn monster.
In the hell. So, like, 23 minutes left and she fucking blows her kid's head off. I was like, Jesus.
It literally made me, like, scream. I was like, whoa! Holy shit.
You got up and you were like, clapping.
I don't think I've seen that before in a movie. It was shocking.
I've seen it before in, like, a Walking Dead, but not, like, in a movie. I was like... I don't know, I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? Because I was like, what else is there left to do 23 minutes into this film when she fucking killed the shit out of her kid? Like, what else is there to be said? And then fucking, there's like a white horse starts galloping fucking, like, yeah.
The Rapture starts rapturing.
Yeah. Deputy pulls her over and she's just like, where's your little girl or whatever? And she's like, she died or whatever. And she's like, actually, I killed her. And then I couldn't kill myself because it was like, you can't get into heaven if you kill yourself. And I was like, okay, yeah. What the fuck? Well, I didn't know what to say to that. I was like, I mean, that's true in the sense of that, but yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like, I don't know why this part kind of like, I don't know. We'll go through this here, but she goes to jail and like the tattoo lady from earlier has like converted and she's essentially like singing the praises of like God and stuff. This was like, what the fuck? Two angels like show up and one of them had like a flaming sword and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, when the bars start like falling off this jail cell and she's singing Hark the Herald Angels sing, I was like, holy shit, it's happening.
I was like, this is fucking awesome.
That was amazing.
A super loud trumpet is blown and you have 6 more trumpet blows to repent. So essentially like you have 6 more like chimes to be like, I accept God and I love God. After that, you're either, I guess you're going to hell or you're just stuck on earth.
Yeah, purgatory or something.
And like keep that in mind because that's interesting. But she's like you said, she's singing. When they were coming, when the fucking just like Jim Varney, the fucking bars were popping off.
Yeah, I was riveted because I was like, I have no idea
Yeah, I
where
was
this
like,
is going.
dude, this is fucking legit as hell.
And then she delivers the line, "How can I love a God that let me kill my baby?" It's like, Jesus.
I was like, that's on you, bro. The ultra fog came in, man. I was like, holy shit, they were like pumping that in. The guy says, is this hell? Foster, do you love God for giving you the gift of life? He says yes, and then he like disappears right next to her, and she's like, no, because
you got raptured.
For she decided to like fucking turn her back on God at the worst fucking possible moment. But she says,
"We're the best."
Do you see heaven? Yes. Which is a lie. Is it beautiful? Yes. Do you know how long you have to stay here? Yes. How long? Forever.
The end.
Yeah.
It turned into the beyond.
Yeah, she essentially entered into Bloody Shotz history as the dumbest character in a movie ever.
What, for having integrity?
For being a dumbass.
Do you really think that? I think the total opposite of that. I think for the first time in her life, she shows integrity by rejecting the system that made her like kill her own daughter.
Well, I mean, I think she killed her own daughter. I don't think anything made her kill her daughter, but
her faith.
Well, I think my thing is like she spent the whole movie, you know, and then she became like, you know, into religion and stuff, and then she became super preachy about it, and then she, you know, but then like she was into it for so long, but then she like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, so you're gonna be into this when there really were no consequences, but then when there were fucking consequences, and you know that this is happening, you decide to fucking switch?
Yeah. So it makes it like the ultimate decision. I thought that was amazing.
Decision. It's something.
Because she decided basically to reject heaven to retain her own personal integrity, which I thought was amazing. And I was like thinking about it the whole next day, like, wow.
I was thinking about it for a different
she
reason.
dooms herself to a horrific fate that will last forever.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's a word for it.
Well, our disagreement about the ending
Yeah.
just happened.
That's true.
But buddies can disagree.
Not anymore. This is the last episode. I've gone 199 episodes without breaking us up. But when it really mattered, it's time to flip the script. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say anything else about it.
Fair enough. What's your rating? Did you have any other thoughts on the Rapture?
Not really. It had some pretty interesting imagery. Some, like, I guess I will say, like, some of the stuff at the beginning was kind of, like, not as interesting to me. Like, some of the swinger stuff and all that was cool. Well, it wasn't cool. I was like, this is fucking cool! But, like, the really interesting stuff for me is, like, the last half of this film.
Yeah, once it cuts to 6 years later,
yeah,
it gets
like,
cooking.
The first kind of bit of this film is not the greatest, in my opinion. It's not horrible, and I don't think that, like, Mimi Rogers is bad. I think she's really good in this film. It was just kind of, like, it didn't really stand out as anything good or not good, but, like, anything that, like, blew me away. But, like, yeah, like, the last bit, I was like, holy shit, this is legit. Yeah. But that's pretty much it, I guess, on my takes on that.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I'm going to go 8.95.
Cool.
How about you?
Probably do like a 6.95. I really liked it until the ending. Not the ending itself, but like her characters. You know, I've already said my piece on that decision.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for that.
Cool. What's on tap for next week?
I don't know. What is on tap for next week? This is your idea. Why don't you let everybody know?
Well, since
what you were cooking in the Buddy Bakery.
Since Day of the Dead is like your favorite movie, and which all movies are judged upon, I thought it'd be interesting to
Take two.
Talk about the unfilmed original version of Day of the Dead.
The unfilmed version. It's the unfilmed original, help me.
Because, we'll talk about it next week. But his vision was compromised, so I thought it'd be interesting to see what the original...
It was compromised to a permanent end.
But could the compromised vision turn out to be better than the original?
We'll
find out.
The one that came out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So George Romero wrote a script that he had to severely cut and stuff, and that the cut version is what became Day of the Dead. So we're going to talk about, and I guess critique or whatever, the version, the original one, like you said, that like he had way grander plans for. So you said you read it back.
Yeah, I read it back in the day.
Yeah. So it's funny, the ones that I've found so far are like essentially from sites that look like they're from like back in the day. It's like they've been archived and like never looked at.
I read it on homepageofthedead.com, which was like back in the literally the 90s. It was one of the first like big sites about the Romero films. And I was like, I'll read it on there again, and I went to it's still there, and each page you have to click. Like, it's its own web page, and you have to click next to go to every single page. And I was like, nope. Find me a PDF of this bad boy.
Did you print it out ever?
No.
Oh, man.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. We should print it out on one of those really long thing and just have a banner behind us.
Like a dot matrix print.
Yeah! It's like doing that for like 10. We have to start now. It won't be finished. It's like, I remember... Did you do that too? Going to your like dad's work and printing off like a banner, and it was just like, oh my god! People were like, "What the fuck is a printer? Let alone a dot matrix printer." Whew. Good picks this week, man. I as much as like I talked about like the ending, I enjoyed more than anything. I enjoyed seeing Mimi Rogers in a film that like she was the main person in, because a lot of times we'll watch films. And like there'll be a character, like an actor we really like Robert Picardo, and he's like usually in smaller roles, and it's like those are the people I'd like to see in big, like in as the featured, player, and
especially
Mimi Rogers,
in a movie with a meaty part like this.
She got her. I wonder now. I'm kind of interested to see if there's anything else she's kind of been the headliner in.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't think that she could, but it's like literally she's in like a couple scenes for Austin Powers, and that's it. Like, not much to that. So
she should have been in the sequel.
Yeah, I think she was. Well, yeah.
To the
Rapture. I guess I never like thought about that. Where like in the sequel to Austin Powers, like, so what happened to fucking Vanessa Kensington or Miss Kensington? She like, her daughter was a fucking robot the whole time? Like, what? Like, was she part of Dr. Evil's plan? Anyway.
Maybe we'll find out.
I can't believe I just fucking
4.
realized that now. Holy shit. Dude, that's the real fucking mind blow. Holy shit. My life will never be the same. So, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with the 200th episode. The Day of the Dead Spectacular.
Bye.
Like the third one we've done.
Yeah.
Whoa, Mike left this weird artifact. I gotta check this thing out, see what it is.
Matt, it's Mike. I'm here to tell you that you are actually an alien.
What? WTH?
I'm communicating with you from another planet, and you need to know you're an alien.
Somehow, I've always known. Wait, does that mean you're an alien too?
No. You also have supernatural powers. Just try touching your fingers together.
Okay.
Do Duchovny, Duchovny.
I'm gonna make it funny. Basically, as soon as you tell me like it's over, I'm just gonna like get up and run that way.
Yeah, I was just,
A grown man running away from a problem.
this is like my favorite thing ever. Matt reacts as if his life is now forfeit. Like, what? Is that a new laptop?
Baby's day out. No, I've had it for a while.
I know, I was just kidding. I was testing you. I was testing if you knew it's new. It's like, what?
I'm like, it's new. Wait, it's old!
Is the tone here that I care or don't care?
I think you could do both.
Okay. Do it again. I started doing it and I was like, wait, I didn't dial, so you don't just pick up the phone and then.
One, like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Fucking idiot. I won't say fucking idiot. I'm like, fuck you.
What an idiot.
I'm like, fuck it. Do it again. It's a living.
Ah! Dumbest scene ever. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Well, I was just thinking, it's fun. The more I read this, I was like, why would you think I was an alien?
Why would you be on another planet?
Yeah, that's true.
None of it makes any sense.
Well, at that point, I am an alien then. If I'm from Earth and I'm on another planet. 9.95. Emotion, we feeling so high. 9.95. In overdrive. Put your body in overdrive. 9.95.